All right, so now that we've got our file and our survey all set up, we're ready to start entering data. Now there's one thing that I need to correct from the previous video that I realized when I went into this Edit Survey tab here, and that is, notice it says A1, 2. So back when I was setting up, so we'll go back here into the heading, when I was setting up my survey name right at the beginning after I created the file, I typed in A1 space 2 space A16. Obviously, the survey name does not like spaces in there. So if I want to clarify my survey name and I want to have a range instead of just plain A, then I need to make sure that I type A1 and then a dash. There's no spaces there to A, we'll do A16. And then we'll go out of that field to apply it. And now if I go into Edit Survey, because I had originally typed that space on the from and the to station, or still it has that to because of the space. If I go back over here to the select survey, notice nothing's changed because I haven't saved it yet. So let's go to save current file, and there we go, now it's updated. So there's the survey name, there's the date, and then there's the note that I put to remind me that this A1 to A16 is the entrance to the super room. So that's just a little side note there just to clarify. So let's go back to Edit Survey now, and we'll start entering our data. So we're going to do A1, and I'm going to correct this to A2. There we go, much better. And we'll go ahead and start entering our data. So I'm just hitting Tab. You can use the little number pad as well to enter that data. I'm going to expand this out so I can actually see all the fields a little bit better. And we'll go ahead and start entering that data. So our distance is 8.1, and then I'll hit enter. Will take me to the next field. So there's a difference between enter and tab. Tab seems to do the same thing. Tab, 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 until you get right here. And if I hit tab, it'll go to flags and it'll go to comment. If I hit enter, it jumps down right here. So I don't know why it does that, but it does. So if you've got flags and comments to add, you may want to be using tab instead of enter, or just be aware that there's a slight difference there. So our compass is going to be 124. Hit enter. And our back sight is 305. And our inclination, 32. And our backside inclination is minus 32. And we'll do for our left, let's see, we got 3, 4, and then a pass. So in the survey, I had noted that up is passage. So what you can do here in Compass, you'll notice that down here at the very bottom it has enter, and it has options. I can either enter a decimal feet, or I can type P for passage. So if I type the letter P and hit tab, now it says that that's passage. So then for our down is 2.5. And if I hit tab, let's see, if I hit enter at this point, let's see what happens. There we go. It jumps down to the next shot. So it didn't take me over here. I'm going to go back up. I'm just clicking with the mouse, and I'll hit tab. That allows me to come over and add a flag or a comment. There's no comment here. It just had all those zeros, probably because I had a space in the name of the survey originally. Okay, so now I'm just using the arrows as well. So in terms of flags, notice down here where it says enter, you've got exclude from plotting, closure, length, or total exclusion. So this is helpful. Like, let's say you do, there's a passage, it's 100 feet long, you shoot 50 feet down the passage, and then you shoot another 50 feet down at the end of the passage. Well, you go back to that shot, the first 50 feet, and you decide there's actually a high lead that was right above the first station, but you can't quite get to it from the first station. You have to go from the second station at the end of the 50 feet, and you shoot back, and it's just going right over the top of the passage just so you can get to this high lead. You don't want that to really be included in the length. Well, maybe you do, so you can make your cave longer, but that's cheating. You shouldn't do that. You should be honest. So you want to exclude that from the length calculation. If you do, you just type an L right there and it'll exclude that. If you want to exclude it from closing on a loop, you can do that. If you want to exclude it from plotting out that when you visualize the data, you can do that. Or if you want to exclude it from everything, you can type in an X and it will exclude that shot. It'll still calculate it here in terms of connecting everything together, but it won't show when it comes to plotting and calculating statistics. So that's what you can do with flags. Comments are really great. Let's say that this is a station we really want to make sure A2 that we can recover it. So I add a note that says A2 is on the prominent stalactite in the middle of the passage. So that way, if I ever need to recover that, I've got a note here. Or maybe in the second shot, let's go ahead and enter our data here. So let's say that when I did this shot, the back sight was really bad. They were scrunched up in this horrible position and they could barely read it and they kept getting a bad number. And so the foresight was much better. That's another instance where you could add a note. Go with, let's see, where to say position was really ugly. Okay, so that's how you can use notes. Another thing that you'll use as you're entering the data, let's say that I had 223 and 52 were my shots here on the foresight and the back sight for the compass. Well, if I look down below, there are back sight errors. So it's both compass and inclination. It will show you if you have an error. So when I entered back sight shot 3, it says there is an azimuth error of 9 degrees. It's 9 degrees off. And that's something you really want to pay attention to, because either you mistyped it or something went horribly wrong in the survey and you need to be aware of that so that you can fix it later on. Sometimes I know there was one shot that I had entered. So let's say here we had, let's see, what was it? It was 233. And now that backside error goes away. But let's say you had something like, let's see, you had 52 and 52. Now you've got a backside error of 180 degrees. So there's a good chance when you enter this data, let's say you got 52 and 65, there's a massive error. Probably what happened is somebody was reading the wrong numbers on the compass. So that gives you a good sense of maybe what might be going on as you're entering your data. So, and that's really all there is to it. So let's correct that again to 33 and 52. And I will go in and finish entering the data, and then we will go from there. But I think that's pretty much everything you need to know in terms of entering your data here. Oh wait, there is one other thing. The other thing is, let's say you go through and you've accidentally mistyped your foresights and backsights in the wrong order, or you've done something else like globally across the board and you're like, oh shoot, I got to delete it all and redo it. You don't have to redo that. Up here under shots, there are a bunch of different options. You can reverse things, you can swap stations, you can flip the compass or the inclination. You've got a lot of different options there for correcting global mistakes that you've made as you've gone through and entered that data. Let me just take a real quick look here and just see if there's anything else. There again is reverse shots and additional settings. I think that's probably it. You can explore some of these other settings here. There's lots of really cool things you could do. But in terms of entering data, that's pretty much all there is to it. The last thing you need to remember, again, is to go to File, Save Current File, before you close out of everything. Otherwise, you'll lose everything you've entered. And that's it. In the next video, we'll go through, let's see, what are we going to do in the next video? I don't know, but it'll be cool whatever we do.